Common Knowledge is brought to you by PureMTGO.com and InkedGaming.com. Use coupon code CCMTG10 at checkout for a 10% discount on all Inked Gaming supplies and accessories. You can support the show directly through Patreon at patreon.com/common knowledge.
This is the Common Knowledge Podcast. It's not about the cost, it's about the knowledge. Here are your hosts, Brandon Clark and Lauber.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 75 of Common Knowledge. I'm your host, Brandon, and joining with me, as always, is my trusty companion, Sean the Laubert.
What's up?
Not a lot.
So hot.
My desk is like right next to the AC vent, so yeah, it feels really nice. Which is funny because usually this time of year I'm the one complaining about my swamp cooler not working, but I don't live in that apartment, so central air.
I hear a lot of other podcasts, like they always complain when it's winter time and how much they hate the winter. You get some summer hate in this podcast, bringing some hot takes.
Well, okay, so last week we did the part 1 video of the Unification of Pauper, and we basically just did a set review of all the great cards that are being added to the format. And so this week we're going to be finishing that up. Not all the great cards, but the cards that we think are great.
Yeah, our top picks.
Yeah, we just can't cover all 413 cards or whatever. If you're really curious about knowing what they are, go to Gatherer.
Oh, yeah.
Gatherer now has Pauper as a format, and you can find them there.
Right. Our Facebook also has a link to just all of the new cards. But, yeah. Magic M20 has already come out, so we've got another set review next week, right?
I was thinking we could just skip it. Is there anything you're excited about from M20?
I haven't even looked at it yet. Is there not much?
I didn't think there was much.
It might be a short episode, but I want to do an episode on it.
All right, cool. 3 set reviews in a row.
Ah, yes. That's not our fault, guys.
We just did the M Modern Horizons set review.
Yep.
Ugh.
Main topic.
So, yeah, no card of the week, because, we've got a whole bunch of cards of the week. So we're just going to be going through. We left off last week on Forked Bolt, and this week we're going to be kicking it off with Gaia's Touch.
Yeah, so Gaia's Touch is green for an enchantment. It says, you may play an additional land during your turn if that land is a basic forest. And then it has sacrifice Gaia's Touch, add green to your mana pool. So if you have the forests in hand, this is a good way to get to, like, what is it, 6 mana on turn 3? Because, you do have to have a lot of forests, but I don't know, that's kind of cool. Ramp decks, like our ramp episode, I'm not sure, I don't see this seeing play anytime soon, but maybe something really wants to put forests into play. I don't see it. So it's a powerful card.
This card is probably really great in your Pauper EDH decks.
Yeah.
All right, next card. Probably, I think in most people's opinion, one of the most powerful cards coming into the format, Goblin Grenade. 1 red mana, single red for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Goblin Grenade, sacrifice a goblin. Goblin Grenade deals 5 damage to target creature or player, which I think that's probably just been errated to any target at this point.
Yeah.
But that's not super relevant for our format.
But Goblin Grenade is one of the cards that was on some ban lists before the Unification because they were just saying that the damage was too high. It made for some non-games of Magic because the games ended too quickly. I definitely think it's not going to be a problem since the deck it's going in isn't like so phenomenal.
Yeah, I think this is good that, like you said, the deck isn't great now, Goblins, but getting Goblin Grenade could maybe be enough to like push it into tier 1, 1.5 range and like make it an actually viable archetype.
And we're not really afraid of like an aggressive deck taking over our format. We're like, maybe we want the aggressive decks back. The goblins would be a cool one.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we kind of need something, I think, to help keep the Boros decks in check. They're too powerful for the control decks to sort of handle, and so maybe we just need a really fast, aggressive deck to kind of like, look, you can't just cast Arkham's Astrolabe 3 or 4 times a turn. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
You need to do something.
Yeah, I love Goblin Grenade. And it's at sorcery speed, so it's not gonna like, it's not a combat trick. It's a sorcery speed, just nug you for 5. Like, that's...
Yeah. I think it gives the format a nice rock, paper, scissors dynamic, where I think that this card would be great at pressuring core Skyfisher decks, and Spellslinger Sprite, which is bad against core Skyfisher decks, is good against Goblin Grenade decks. So I see like an interesting like rock, paper, scissors dynamic.
I don't have anything else to say. Are you fine moving on to Guerrilla Tactics?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So Guerrilla Tactics is a colorless and a red for an instant. It says Guerrilla Tactics deals 2 damage to target creature or player. When a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard Guerrilla Tactics deals 4 damage to target creature or player. So we didn't have this type of effect before the unification, and there are a couple where if they force you to discard something, you can get rid of the card and do an extra thing and don't have to pay the mana cost. I don't know. I think that any unique effect coming to Pauper is worth mentioning. I don't think it's a huge problem that, black decks are mind-wrenching or anything, or Liliana Spectering. Like, that's not the most common thing, but if your particular meta has a lot of that, you could play this off color even.
Yeah. Alright, so our next card is Lava Burst. X and a red. Lava Burst deals X damage to a creature or player. If Lava Burst would deal damage to a creature, that damage can't be prevented or dealt instead to another creature or player. That's weird templating.
Yeah.
So the damage can't be redirected or prevented. It just kills
dead.
Probably
one of the worst cards on this list, to be honest. Like, most people are going to be playing Kavarik's Torch. But if you really wanted to be able to point it at a creature and didn't want that prevented because there's a lot of prismatic strands running around, I suppose this is useful. It's just another weird fireball, really. But our next card, Merchant Scroll, this is one of the ones that a lot of people have been buzzing about. Merchant Scroll is a colorless and a blue for a sorcery. It says, search your library for a blue instant card, reveal that card, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So there's a lot of buzz about it, but the amount of combo decks we have that use sorceries isn't crazy high. Like, I can't even really think of anything that this would immediately go into. So do you feel like there's that hype? I mean, we don't get a lot of tutors.
I mean, I think this card could be good in Tron.
Okay.
Go get counter spells, go get Ghostly Flicker. That's really the place where I see it going in existing decks. But it's super powerful. Just tutors in general are really powerful, and we're a format that don't really have access to that.
Yeah.
And so there could be some sort of other deck that comes out of this. I don't really know what, but
I think I actually said sorcery a little bit earlier. But yeah, it's instant spells. Okay, so yeah, it's instant spells, and I guess that could be like Inside Out and things like that. If you so felt like it, it's just that many more copies of that.
Yeah.
See, since there's no storm.
The problem there, though, is I think the Inside Out deck is better with the enchantment now. The new Modern Horizons enchantment. Isn't that what it is?
You
deal damage with your butt.
Oh, Treefolk Umbra?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet.
So far, I've never played against it, but I've seen lists people have been brewing up with like a white green Treefolk Umbra deck.
That does seem like it would be pretty good because there's some pretty good things to target your stuff in green.
Yeah. So I don't know if people are gonna be playing Tireless Tribe. I don't think they want to go Merchant Scroll for Inside Out anymore. I think they just want to put Umbra on Tireless Tribe. But I don't know. I don't know if you should be casting Tireless Tribe at this point anymore.
Yeah, I'm just really happy that they didn't ban this card right out of the gate, because I'm not sure what it would be doing at all.
Yeah, I mean, a tutor is really only as powerful as the cards you're tutoring for. And in this format, I mean, what are the best instants that we can go find? Counterspell, Ghostly Flicker Bolt, Forbidden Alchemy, Mystical Teachings,
Did you say Brainstorm?
Brainstorm.
Yeah, I'm not that excited about most of these.
Yeah, we don't really have a combo where this is going and getting one of your combo pieces, that's just not a thing in this format, really. And so just having a tutor in your deck to go get a random answer seems like you would rather just have this slot be card draw, if you're playing a control deck. And plus you're limited to blue instants. So we said Lightning Bolt earlier, and
that's true.
Yeah.
I've never cast this spell, so I think I've said what it does wrong twice now.
I've only cast it in Commander to go and get my combo piece.
Yeah.
And so, but again, that's just, I think, helping the argument of, you're going and getting a broken combo piece, and Commander has access to much more powerful spells than Pauper does.
Yeah.
I'm glad this wasn't banned. I don't think it's going to be a problem that it's not banned.
Right.
The spell's super powerful in other formats. I don't think it's as powerful in Pauper. Alright, next card is Mind Ravel. 2 and a black for a sorcery. Target player chooses and discards a card. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn. So you, for 3 mana, make your opponent discard a card, and then at the beginning of the next turn, you draw a card.
Yeah. I like that this is a potential, 1 for 0, essentially. It is a very slow card, but I think it's good. It ticks all my check boxes when I'm looking at how good a card is.
Yeah, I think it's powerful. Finding a shelf for it in this format might be a little more tricky, but I think it's strong. Also note, this card's not on Magic Online. This is just one of those cards that's exclusive to Pauper, but will eventually be on Magic Online, so...
Yeah.
Or Paper. I said Pauper. Paper. It's exclusive to Paper.
Yeah.
Paper, Pauper, they're basically the same word.
I understood.
Sean and I are so tired today. We're both at the beginning of the cast just yawning, oh, we're so tired. So we're probably going to say everything wrong, but the listeners, you know what we mean.
Yeah.
When I say Pauper, I mean Paper. When Sean says instant, or sorcery means instant. We were just wrong about the Lightning Bolt thing, even though we knew blue card. We were just...
Maybe I can clean some of that up in post, but if not...
Yeah, clean it all up in post, but leave my little spiel in so the listeners are like, what are they saying wrong? What's Brandon talking about? He's an idiot.
Yeah, I did finish this week. I did finish editing my Pauper Playoffs video, and that thing, since I had to sync up the commentary afterwards and the game was going, and I had to add all these frame holds to make it look seamless and stuff like that, that thing took 20 hours of editing or something like that. I just kept on going back and fixing it, and it was so many edits that my editing software was crashing. I'm so proud of it, though. But that really tired me out.
You want to talk to us about our next card?
Our next card is Mystic Remora. I've seen some brews about this one already. So Mystic Remora is a single blue for an enchantment. It has cumulative upkeep of a colorless mana. It says whenever an opponent plays a non-creature spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 4.
So I've had this card cast on me already.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing against Mono Black, and my Mono Black opponent cast Mystic Remora, Core Skyfisher, Ancient Grudge, and flashed it back, all with basic swamps in play.
That's frustrating because you're just like, this shouldn't work. What
This
is
should
this?
happen.
Yeah.
Another place I've seen Mystic Remora is the sideboards of Delver decks.
It's one of those. It's one of the few cards that interacts super profitably with the like Astro Hawk
Mm-hmm.
thing, because every time you cast a creature, you're casting a non-creature spell, and every time you cast a non-creature, of course, you have to pay the extra 4. They don't have that much to pay for that, so you're just like, okay,
I
I'm
think that
gonna
in most circumstances, almost never can they pay the extra 4, even if they wanted to.
yeah.
Unless your Remora is coming down on like turn 8, in which case you're probably dead. Like, I don't know, this game's weird.
Well, if it's close, like, I don't know, I feel like this is just one of those solid cards, and then you could end up counterspelling their cards anyway. Eventually, you'll probably this will
Start
die, but
actually, yeah.
yeah, it takes so long if you drop this mid game for this to actually be taken off of the battlefield.
Yeah, well, and I was thinking about it too. Like, even out of like a Delver of Secrets deck, I was thinking that seemed unintuitive because you want to be spending your mana, but the Astrolabe Hawk decks, they also just kind of take a minute to get rolling too, and they're setting up and they're playing their Astrolabe. So if you play Remora on 1, and then on turn 2, you'd like pay for the upkeep cost, cast a Delver of Secrets, you're now going to 2-for-1 them for them to either remove your Delver, or they're going to play like a whatever Prophetic Prism or an Astrolabe or something. You're going to draw a card and you're ahead there, and then you have a Delver in board too. And like the deck's so full of 1-cost spells that it's also just not without outside the realm of possibility. Just on turn 2, pay your cumulative upkeep 2, play a land and like lightning bolt a creature or something. Like the deck can function on playing just one spell a turn if your rest of your mana is going to you just drawing cards for the rest of the game.
And this just checking the box of, does it have an effect the term that it comes out? Like, I think that immediately they have to play the removal spell right away so that you can either have to commit another guy, or the effect is that on their turn they have to play around this, or you just draw so many cards. So I think, to me, this has an immediate effect in that it's altering how they have to play.
Mm-hmm. And if your Glint Hawk opponent has elected not to play Astrolabe into this and is instead bouncing their artifact lands so they can play their Glint Hawk, I mean, setting them back on a mana, that's got to be worth at least half of a card in the long run, right? Like, that's got to be worth something. Setting them back on that tempo.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, it affects it changes the way your opponent has to play out the rest of their game. And so it's powerful in Vintage, it's powerful in EDH. This format is also full of non-creature spells. I think it's powerful here too.
Yeah, we've so far I think we've been talking about it in Delver, but like, say if a Tron wanted to sideboard this, a Tron player wanted to.
I guess I just brought up Delver because that's a place I've seen it and I thought it was weird, but I think this card would be incredible in Tron. Like, out of control in Tron.
Yeah. Like,
okay, they'll pay that upkeep until it's 5 or 6.
Yeah.
This card's bonkers in Tron.
Yeah, so this, I don't think we're doing a top 5, but I think this might be my number 1.
Oh, this is my number 1, no questions. It's like this Goblin Grenade.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. We would probably have the same top 5. Do you want to read the next one?
Yeah, so our next card is Psychic Purge. Ooh, and this is the first time I'm ever going to read this card. Single blue mana sorcery. Psychic Purge deals 1 damage to a creature player. When a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard Psychic Purge, that player loses 5 life. That's a weird card to be blue.
Definitely. Like, it could serve dual purpose in a sideboard of like, okay, well, the instant speed isn't that important, so I'm not going to play Piracy Charm. I'm just going to play this, and then if I play against a discard opponent, oh boy, I'm gonna burn them out in like a mono blue sideboard or something like that.
Yeah. I guess that is true. This is probably just a really good card for mono blue decks that just lack removal. Now they don't have to play Gut Shot.
Yeah,
Piracy might be slightly better than this still, just because it's so modal. You have all those options. Because I don't know that I ever envisioned the 5 life thing coming up.
I'll admit when I put this on there that I was like, I think most people are probably going to be playing just gut shots and piracy charms. Probably more gut shots than anything. But it's a very interesting card. So here it is. Ready for Red Elemental Blast?
Oh, my body is ready.
Red Elemental Blast is a single red. It is an instant. It says choose one, counter target blue spell, or destroy target blue permanent. So same arguments we have for Blue Elemental Blast really apply here. And if you didn't tune into the last episode, basically what we were saying is that these are strictly worse, but they are probably cheaper, and they're going to be bringing down the price of the.
But when we say strictly worse,
It's
I don't know.
Marginal.
It's so marginal. There's one deck in this format where it's actually relevant that these cards are strictly worse. Every other deck in this format, they are identical as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Only difference is you can get your red blasts online for, dirt cheap, whereas your pyroblasts are like $5.
Yeah.
So unless you're playing Is It Blitz, these cards just might be a strict upgrade in the sense that they're not going to break your wallet.
Yeah.
But Is It Blitz, these are a strict downgrade.
It was that and anything with Seeker of the Way.
But Seeker of the Way. Yeah, if you're playing cards that care about triggers or like casting spells, you'd rather have the Pyroblast, the Hydroblast than these.
Mm. You have the privilege, sir, of reading our next card. I'm going to make it bigger for you, just to make it a little easier to read.
Gee, Bob Willikers. Remove enchantments. A single white mana for an instant. Remove all enchantments you control and remove all enchantment cards played on all permanents you control. If this spell is cast during... I'm pulling up the Oracle text.
It's the same.
What? No, it's not. I can't believe that. Return to your hand all enchantments you both own and control, all auras you own attached to permanents you control, and all auras you own attached to attacking creatures your opponents control. Then destroy all other enchantments you control, all other auras attached to permanents you control, and all other auras attached to attacking creatures your opponents control. Cool, next card. This probably does a thing against Boggles. Call the judge when you cast it.
Well, from what I can tell that it says, if you had like 4 abundant growths in play, cast remove enchantments, you would return all of your abundant growths back to your hand, and you could draw a bunch of cards that way, and simultaneously wipe out all of your opponent's enchantments.
Yeah, so basically everything you own goes back to your hand. This card's so weird.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
Yeah, you're going to have to give it a few read-throughs, but I'm pretty sure, from what I can tell...
No, but yeah, you're right about the abundant growth thing.
Like, this just seems like the most powerful removal spell in white for enchantments now.
Yeah, so I mean, it's an instant. You can get your opponent your combat step. Your Boggles opponent's going to throw all their stuff on their creature, and then you're going to pay a white mana. You're going to remove enchantments. They're going to have 0 enchantments. And if you had any enchantments, they are back in your hand. Mm-hmm. I don't know. This is really specific, though, about stuff. I don't know. All auras you own attached to permanents you control, and auras you own attached to attacking creatures your opponents control. Because I'm putting my enchantments on my opponent's creatures.
Yeah.
So, okay. I've had it before where my Boggles opponent, I killed all their creatures, had a Gurmag Angler. They put a Armadillo Cloak on my Gurmag Angler. So my Gurmag Angler had to stop attacking. But then they drew a creature. they had to remove enchantments, they could get that back and put it on their creature again.
Oh my.
Yeah. So this card's probably great in the mirror too, because you're not blowing up your enchantments.
Yeah,
You're
you
losing
kind of.
some capital because you have to recast them. You're going to kill all your opponent's enchantments too.
Yeah, like it avoids that. Like, there's destroy all enchantment spells, but you can't play them if you are Boggles. You could just do that, rebuild, probably draw more cards than before. Like, I very much want to just ignore this card and just be like, it's old and dumb, but what it's doing, I can't ignore because it's so powerful that this would probably make my top list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Between this and the other spell, the enchantment alteration that steals an enchantment, I really think that Boggles could see like an extinction level event. Like, it might just be a matter of time before people figure out that they need to do this.
Interesting though, because this spell could also protect your enchantments.
Oh, that's true. They're like, destroy everything, and you're just like, nah, it's back in my hand. I'm gonna draw a bunch of cards.
So, when you're playing the mirror match, it's just like the first person to blink on remove enchantments probably loses. Remove enchantments. In response, remove enchantments. Got him. This card's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We should just ban this card just because it's ridiculous.
It falls under the word count banning.
Too much word. Oh man, this is like Chains of Mephistopheles level of like weirdness.
Level of weirdness, sure, but the number of words still not even close.
It's gonna be close. Chains is maybe only like 2 or 3 more lines of text than this card. This card's like 3/4 of the way into a Chains.
Yeah, it's still a margin. Anyway, I'm ready for the next card.
Oh, this card has more text than Chains of Mephistopheles.
What?
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, this card's got more text. Even the Oracle text of this card out-oracles Chains.
Oh, I guess you're right. I thought there was more on there.
Yeah, it feels like there should be. Oh, next card.
Yeah, we got a Rook Egg. This was printed at Rare after its initial printing at Common a few times, so you can tilt your opponents by putting a rare card onto the battlefield if you want.
That bothers me so much.
It is.
Well, I guess other rare cards that have gotten downgraded, right?
Yeah, Mortician Beetle. Others.
Rare. Gosh.
I know that.
No, the Crocodile. That's what I was thinking of. The Crocodile.
Oh, the Crocodile nobody plays. I know there's also that. It's like a wolf guy flexing or something like that. It's like colorless green. It's an XX where it's the number of creatures you control. Yeah, that was also downgraded from Rare. Anyway, Rook Egg is 3 generic and a red for a creature egg. It is a 0/3. It says, when Rook Egg is put into a graveyard from play, put a 4/4 bird creature token with flying into play at end of turn.
Wow, it's like that mythic phoenix that was the Scourge of Standard, except much worse.
It doesn't just keep coming back or something?
I think the phoenix was like a 4/4 for 4, and when it died, it made a 0/1 egg, and then at the beginning of your next upkeep, sack the egg and put the phoenix back into play from the graveyard.
So some of the great things about Rook Egg is, one, it doesn't have Defender, so if you want to pants this up and attack with just a big
egg,
bone splitter wielding egg, that is well within your rights. And then a 4/4 with flying and red it's noteworthy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, called stone feathers by many lowlanders, rooks are thought to descend from a phoenix that sacrificed its flame for a body of stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So Giving this card a 5 out of 7. Perfect score.
Wow. That's gotta be like your -1 on your top 5.
Yeah. Sage of Latnam is the next card. 1 and a blue for a creature human artificer. It's a 1/2 that has tap, sacrifice an artifact, draw a card.
Yeah, this is one that recently saw a reprint in Dominaria. It was printed at uncommon, but way back in the day, it was printed at common. Just being able to tap your creature and draw a card if you have a spare artifact lying around. There's plenty of things that it's going to trigger.
Your spring or your
Yeah.
chromatic stomper.
It's got a 2 toughness body, so that's definitely not bad.
Sacrifice your excess lands.
Mm-hmm. I think that this could be part of a cool deck. I don't like every time we're wrong about a card is because I feel like we're like, yeah, this is cool, but we don't know what this is doing, and then it comes out of nowhere, and that's every time. I feel like when we're wrong, that's what it's about. So like, I feel like I'm downplaying a card too much when I say this is good, but I don't know what it's going into, because I see the power level here. I know that in Pauper, it's better for things to do their effect immediately instead of being a tap effect, so that's minus points. So probably this is probably more of a casual brewy card. I like it though.
Yeah.
So next though, there was some discussion initially about this card. I think it's pretty cool. Let's see if I can pronounce it. It is Soldevi Adnate. And this is not on Magic Online yet. It is a colorless and a black for a 1/2 summon cleric. Its ability is tap, and then after the colon it says sacrifice a black or artifact creature to add an amount of black equal to that creature's casting cost to your mana pool. Play this ability as an interrupt. And I wanted to clarify the colon there, and we should probably check this on Gatherer to see if there's Oracle here, because that is relevant, right?
Yeah, sacrifice a creature is part of the cost.
Okay, so they moved that colon.
Yeah, it's tap, comma, sacrifice black or artifact creature, colon, and amount of black mana to your mana pool equal to the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost.
Right, so this is another spell that can blow up, well, that can sacrifice your Ichor Wellsprings. It can sacrifice any of your artifacts that came in for a deal, add a whole bunch of black to your mana pool, and you can do something cool with it, maybe? Effects that generate a lot of mana, we are still, like, in Pauper, we don't know what's the biggest thing.
Payoffs.
Yeah, so we're always a little bit hesitant about cards like this.
I think that Ashnod's Altar would just, like, anything else out of the question for, like, playability, because it's like, we'll just play Ashnod's Altar, but as it stands, like, we don't even know how to make use of Ashnod's Altar effectively in the format yet, so
yeah.
Cool. So that was Soldavi Adnate. It's a weird name. Our next card is Thought Vessel. 2 generic mana for an artifact. You have no maximum hand size. Add colorless. So
I remember the day that the news hit, somebody made a post that was like, this is just on the Reddit, that was like, these are some cards, like, I'm just throwing these cards out there that we see when we play with these rules. And cards like Desert aren't that big of a deal, surprisingly. It looks really good, but you don't actually see it. And Thought Vessel is one of those cards that they were like, no, you do see this. I'm completely surprised by that. I don't think
it's like a $10 card because of Commander.
Really?
Yeah.
What set did this come out in recently?
Commander.
Just Commander?
I think it's only had one printing out of one or two
Jeez.
printings. Yeah, it's not been printed very much, but I could see this card being great in Tron decks.
Tron? I feel like putting something else in this slot and just being like, all right, I'm going to settle for having 7 cards in my hand, and they're going to be the perfect 7. That's more where I'm at. I don't think I would be excited about playing Thought Vessel. Do you feel like you're losing games because you're discarding cards ever?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Anyway, I've got the next card. It is Tormod's Crypt. It is a 0 mana artifact that has the ability of tap, sacrifice Tormod's Crypt, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. This is also one of the best cards. Like, everybody just has access to this in their sideboard now. If you don't want to go with relics because you need to target a graveyard, you can just have this and just be sitting on it, waiting for your opponent to try to do something and then pop it.
Yeah, I think that in almost every case, Relic is just better than this. This being 0 mana, I don't think is that relevant. Like, Pauper's just slow. The graveyard decks are slow. This isn't like Vintage, where it's like, I have to have my Tormod's Crypt and them not be on the play, or I die to Dredge. Like, the only thing that makes this card relevant is that it exiles from a target graveyard. So if you're a graveyard deck, you don't want relics because you want to keep your graveyard. That's why Nihil Spellbomb is so good out of Blue-Black Alchemy, because they keep their graveyard up, but then nuke your opponent's graveyard. What's the name of the card? Oh gosh. Draw cards for all accumulated knowledge. If you're playing accumulated knowledge in your deck, you maybe want to consider Tormod's Crypt. But in almost any other case, I would argue that Relic is just better.
I think I agree with you that I'm not
Relic on one and just keep the graveyard at nothing, and then trading it for a card later.
Yeah, I'm cycling through all of the decks I just have built on Magic Online, and I think there's one that would consider this, and it's already at 4 relics in the deck, and that's the only reason I would play it.
Yeah, so I think that if you're relying heavily on your graveyard, this is a good option.
Yeah.
Fight against other graveyard-based strategies. But if you're just looking for graveyard hate, play Relic. The fact that this costs 0 isn't relevant in Pauper.
Yeah.
This format's not Legacy. This format's not Vintage. You don't need it to cost 0. You don't need it to be free, and you don't need to be able to do it on turn 1.
Right. So I think that you're right. This isn't going to make a big impact, but it's a well-known card that sees play in stronger formats, and I don't think fits here. Our last card, though, is Unstable Mutation. It is a single blue for an enchantment aura. At the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller, put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. Blue Zoo decks played this for a while in paper when this format was really, really new, because for a single blue, you give your creature +3/+3 that turn, and then the next turn it's still +2/+2, and then +1/+1. So overall, you've gained 6 power when you've attacked over 3 turns, and that first turn it's an immediate effect. So I don't care if I lose my creature in 4 turns. I'm hoping you're going to be dead. Is just way better.
Yeah, this is just super aggressive. That's a lot of power for 1 mana.
Definitely.
Yeah. Put this on a Delver of Secrets on turn 2 after you flipped it.
And there are cards. I mean, I don't think this is going to see play, but there are cards that you can move counters from one creature to another for 1 or 2. So you get your creature down to, say if you put this on an Augur of Bolas, you've been beaten in, and then it's finally down pretty low, and you're like, oh, I'm going to put my 4 counters over on your guy, immediately tack back in for 4. It's pretty Christmas land, but this card does just allow for some funny things like that to happen. Anyway, I guess this is part 2. And that's pretty much it. I don't think that this is going to be format warping. I think that this is going to have small effects, like powerful cards like Mystic Remora, the blasts, meaning more people are going to have those, and then some sideboard cards, especially against enchantments. I feel like there's a lot of enchantment hate that wasn't here before. That's the impact it's going to have. And side note, I have had an opportunity to play Desert. My feelings on Desert are that it is more underwhelming than you would think it is. Unless you have 2, you can't kill most things in this format. If a mono blue player is attacking you with a fairy, it's going to turn into a ninja, and you're going to have to pop 2 of these. It's awkward to have that extra mana. I think the primary use of this is just going to be some control decks are going to play a one of, and it's just a nice effect to be like, okay, well, I have this hedge against the strategy of attacking with all of these things, and I'm going to be able to whittle them down. You take a lot of damage, though, while whittling things down with Desert.
Yeah, I just don't know either about how big of an effect this is all going to have. I think that the big ones I can think of, besides the blasts and the cards that you mentioned, the one card that I think will have the biggest impact is Forked Bolt.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. And that's not going to be like...
Goblin Grenade, I guess, probably.
Yeah. I think Forked Bolt is more of the same. Like, we already have Electrickeries in our format. We already have Shocks in, like, Firebolt in the format, so it's not going to feel...
Yeah,
it's not going to feel different.
A lot of decks are already playing Fire Ice. Those decks just take Fire Ice out and play Forked Bolt, I think.
Some do. Some probably will stay the same. Like, I don't even think that everybody even wants to do that. So...
Really?
Really, I think that a lot of people think Ice is significant.
I mean, Ice is significant in, like, Legacy because you can tap Trinisphere.
Yeah.
But I can't think of ever wanting to play Ice. Like, you play Fire Ice because Fire is so good, and then Ice is just like, well, I guess it's not dead, so tap a thing. But I don't know. I'd rather just play Bolt in all my decks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just every time that there's a... they're kind of the same. You're going to have people splitting whether or not they do it. And I just think that just means that this format or this set of new cards isn't going to be the most significant thing that comes to Pauper. Anyway, I think that we're good here. I don't have anything else left to say besides tune in next week for another set review. Yeah.
Okay, so last order of business for tonight before we close out the podcast is our Patreon drawing of the month for last month. We didn't do card of the week last week or this week because of the set reviews. So what was the best card that we talked about last week? Forked Bolt? Let's go with Forked Bolt.
Okay.
So you'll get a Forked Bolt and Goblin Grenade because I don't want to buy a playset of Mystic Remoras.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? Well, I'll reach out to the patron. This will be special. I'll reach out to them and I'll ask them, do you want a playset of Mystic Remoras or do you want a playset of Goblin Grenades?
What do you think they're going to say? They're probably just going to say Remora. You're just hedging.
Yeah. But I mean, they could want Goblin Grenades, but also they might want us to sign them too. And do you really want us to ruin your Mystic Remoras? So just have us send you Goblin Grenades.
That's true.
I actually don't mind. I don't mind. I think Remoras are only like $5 or $6. So
yeah, I think they're like $5. But I haven't bought one in forever.
Yeah, I just have a couple in a box that I've had forever. Okay, Mystic Remoras or Goblin Grenades. Whichever one you choose. Alrighty, let's roll the random dice roller.
Okay. Number 9?
So the winner is Nicholas Ricciodelli. Thank you for your support. You rock.
Yeah.
We're going to reach out to you shortly. Congratulations, and thank you for your support.
I'm surprised how we've actually been able to get in contact with all of these people. I thought it would be like...
No, you send them an email through Patreon, and they're in touch with me within 24 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Best fans ever.
Best fans ever. Cool. Well, thank you to all our patrons for the support, and especially thank you to Nicholas this week, because you're our big winner. Boom.
End times.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. That was episode 74. If you liked what you heard and want to give back, you can do so at patreon.com/common knowledge. There you'll get access to the Common Coliseum, a monthly video series where Sean and I battle it out on Magic Online, as well as have access to the Card of the Week drawing, another monthly perk for our patrons. In addition to that, you'll be helping us work towards our first stretch goal at $50. We're going to hold our 5-card blind tournament. If you're a new listener and you want to know what that's all about, you can go to the Patreon page and see all of the rules explaining what that's going to be. as well as you get to see the graph where Sean has kept track of the power rankings. I don't know that it's super relevant anymore, and we're probably going to start a new graph potentially with all these changes that have been coming to the format.
I want to still have a history of the format that I can refer to.
Oh, we should definitely keep both. But
yeah.
Anyway, it would seem weird to carry on that same chart. But anyway, again, thank you to our sponsors, PureMTGO.com and InkGaming.com. You can find the show as well as many other great Magic-related content on PureMTGO. And you can use coupon code CCMTG10 to get yourself a 10% discount on all Ink Gaming supplies and accessories when you go to their website. Another great way to support the show is to support the network that we're affiliated with. So go to Constructed Criticism on YouTube and like and subscribe and favorite and do all those YouTube things. Watch all the Magic content that your little heart can handle. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you could do so at commonknowledgemtg@gmail.com. And you can find the show on Twitter at CKPodcastMTG, as well as our Facebook group, Common Knowledge. You can find me at Twitter at bclark_CK. And you can find Sean at Lobbert8, that's LOBBERT 8.
And the number 8.
The number 8. As well as the YouTubes, where you get to see Sean's Pauper content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.